Welcome to the opening of the virtual exhibit of the Know Your School, Bolling School event that we have going on today. We have 3 Bolling School alumni with us that we're going to be asking some questions about their time here. And I guess let's just get into it while we're at it. I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourselves and say what grades you went to the school. Just to start.
My name is Alex Pryor. I went from 1 through 6th grade.
Great, thank you.
I'm Beverly White, and I went from 1st grade through 7th grade.
Great.
And I'm Janice Cooley, and I went 1st grade through 6th grade. It's a long time ago.
Great time we had here. So I guess just to start, who were some of the figures at Bolling that really had an impact on you and your education?
All my teachers.
Any in
Every
particular?
teacher I had. Miss Cowell, Miss Williams, Miss Lethbridge, Miss Coleman, Mary Sullivan, and even teachers that I didn't have, Miss Carter, Miss Jackson. They all had an impact on me. They wanted me to learn. So.
That's great.
I guess my favorite teacher was Mr. Branch, because standing outside his car at 5 years old, I learned to read on the front page of the Beckley Post-Herald, blending and sounding my ABCs. And so he was one of my favorites, but Miss Coleman, Miss Edna Williams, Miss Cabell, because she was also our pianist at church. So if we didn't do well Sunday, we heard it on Monday. And so I'd say she's the one that kept us in line the most.
Yeah, I have to say the same as Alex. All the teachers seemed to make an impact. It was a family, it seemed like. But the one I think that I remember the most was my 1st grade teacher, Miss Cabell, Mary Cabell. It was every day she made it an experience. And I think I remember the most we all had to come that was going on in the world. So she was also a great music teacher. She had a piano in the room, so we would sing a lot. She was just made a big impact on my life. I remember so much from her, and all the other teachers that were mentioned as well.
That is true. Speaking of Miss Cabell, I think the current events carried through all the classes, because I would watch the Today Show, and I would write down the news,
Right.
and then pass it out to the other students because they weren't watching it. They were like, "Do you have the news today?" So I've just always been involved with the news and newspapers. So that's so very true.
Yes.
It's so very true.
Let me also say, before the start of school, there were 2 lines in front of the school. We said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and the Lord's Prayer. And the flag was raised on a flagpole.
Mm-hmm.
After that was the start of school.
Oh, we had to sing "We're on the Upper Trail."
Yeah.
That was the song marching us into our classrooms.
Yeah.
Don't ask us the courses.
We have a picture up there of people lined up outside the school. Is that
That's
what
it.
It's always been
That's
that way.
it.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Which meant you had to be on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't on time, you would know about it. To line up and stand straight,
Mhm.
and you had to walk in a line to go in the door, and that was every day.
Yeah.
And Mr. Clay, our principal, would be standing out there watching everyone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Miss Cabell again, as Janice said, you had to be on time. So I would be real early, and she said, "You don't need to come to school till you see my car." So I'm at home.
She lived across the street.
And I live right across the street, and I'm waiting to see her car, and I'm looking at the clock going, I'm gonna be late. So I finally came on to school, and she said, "Where have you been? You're late." I said, "You told me not to come till I saw your car." Well, she had parked around the corner that day, so I'm like, oh gosh. So I just came to school and I was ready to come from then on.
Yeah.
It was like, no, but she was strict. She was very strict.
Yes.
Very
Did
strict.
you have a lot of strict teachers?
Well, they just wanted us to do well.
Yeah.
They wanted us to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't mean,
No.
you know, where we were really, really frightened.
No.
But it was just, they
You
had
probably should have
rules.
been.
They had rules. Yes.
By us living, all of us living in the neighborhood, I was with a group of guys I went to school with. Some of us was very promiscuous. The teacher would come to your house. Miss Cabell has knocked on my door several times. Okay. They would come to your house and tell your parents, it wasn't no, here's a note, take this note home. Because 9 times out of 10, parents wouldn't get the note, you know, just being honest. So they would show up at your house.
And do you feel like that was good for you?
It was very good. It was very good. It let me know that the teachers cared.
Absolutely.
They wanted, I loved all my teachers. Every one I had. They showed an interest. I think you all will agree. They taught each one individually, you know. They made sure, you know. So,
Right. Right. And I think as we got older, we realized the importance of what they were doing.
yeah.
You
Absolutely.
know, it was just, and that's why we're sitting here today and we can still talk about it.
Right, right.
You know, there's so many things in life that you forget, but those experiences you don't forget. They really made it very, very important for us to learn.
Definitely.
And I remember, and I've said this before, when the schools were going to be integrated and we were going over to Lewisburg High School, I remember the teachers coming to us, and I believe it was Miss Williams and maybe Miss Coleman, but they said that you're going to be going over, you know, across town to school next year, and we want to get you prepared.
Mhm.
And what that meant was additional drilling, you know, and learning, and you know, just being comfortable and confident in who you are and what you know. And it made a difference. It made a difference because that was, for the most part, that was the first time any of us had experienced going to school outside of our community.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it really made an impact.
One thing the Board of Education did do when integration came, when they told us we had to go across town, they said, you don't have to go this year, but next year you'll have to go. So my 7th grade year, there was 3 in the 7th grade and 5 in the 8th grade. And they let us stay that year, but I knew my 8th grade year, we would have to go across town. And the other thing our teachers taught us, and I think it does stick with us today, is accountability and responsibility. Everything that we were learning and being on time and showing up for class and getting your lessons, it's all about accountability and responsibility, and that's what we do today. And those, you don't think about it per se, but that's what's ingrained in you, that that's what you do and that's who you are. You're responsible and you're accountable for everything
Right.
that you do.
Right.
It sounds like you had some great experiences with your teachers there then.
I didn't want to leave here.
Why would we want to walk a quarter of a mile across town? Tell me.
I didn't want to leave this. I had a big gym to play in. I had a field out here that I could run in, but I had to walk all the way across town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be a big.
And I think my first year there, a lot of us guys weren't very well accepted. So Miss Cabell, Miss Leffridge, Miss Williams, they also taught us how to conduct ourselves. Back then it wasn't a good time. Times weren't very good. So it was like you're walking into a fire, and like, what do? Do you fight that fire to try to put it out? You know, or do you just go build another fire? And they taught us how to fight that fire, even though sometimes it didn't work that way. But they taught us, you know, they gave us the tools to leave this school and to go somewhere else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those tools were more strengthen who we were and confidence in
Yeah.
who we were. You know, it wasn't like we used our fist or anything like that. You know, I remember I was decided I wanted to be a cheerleader when I was over there in the 7th grade, and it was the first time they didn't had an African American cheerleader, and it was. I remember difficult times, especially when the team had to go outside of Lewisburg, and we'd have to go into towns outside, you know, of Lewisburg area to play games in Pocahontas County and whatever. And I remember hearing people in the stands calling me names, and I was just a little girl, young girl. But I look back today and I'm like, how did I do that? You know, and not fall apart. But I think, you know, to Alice's point, I was confident in who I was, and I didn't let it bother me. I just saw that as just being sheer ignorance, and went on about my way. You know, and I don't know, how old were we? 15, 16 years old, 14 years old, and did that. So I think that's one of the things, among many things, that was taught, to be self-confident.
And you know, too, it didn't bother me to walk the halls. I was there to learn. I wasn't there to get into the drama and all the things that could have happened at Lewisburg High School. But as I've said before, the parents who taught their children well, that you accept people for who they are and be respected, those are the children that even today, they still treat you with that respect and that care. The ones that were taught something different, we just didn't associate with them. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, you need to be my friend because I'm here. It was like, no, I'm here to learn and get my education, and that's what I'm doing. So anything else that was going on, I didn't even pay attention to it because that wasn't my focus. My focus was school.
Right.
And I think that's what we all took with us. We're here to learn. No, we don't want to be over here no more than y'all want us to be over here, but we're here, and this is what we're going to do.
Right.
When my daughter was over there, junior high, she was going to be homecoming queen. And this particular teacher, homecoming queen, that particular year they changed it to football queen. And it was like, that's okay, she's still the queen. Whether you call her football or homecoming, she's still the queen. And the kids rallied around her because they didn't, the other white kids didn't understand why they changed the name that particular year, because she was going to be homecoming queen. So it carried over, but it's what kids are taught at home, good and bad. And we just taught our kids, you carry yourself well, you get your lessons, that's what you're there for. And I think even today, they still, this is who we are, and we're going forward. And not let those negative things and ideas and people hold you back, because you have so much more to give in this world. And that's what they do. They give back, and we're proud of our kids. I think we're proud of ourselves. And it all started here at Bolling.
I have to say, y'all were good girls. Both of you. The guys that I went to school with here, we fought a lot because the name calling and so on and so forth, we didn't take that very well. Football games, when they had them up on Lewisburg High School field, we fought a lot. A lot of people got hurt. But you know, it's amazing, some of the guys who are still living that I fought back then, we're the best of friends.
Today.
Today. There were times we fought downtown, and it wasn't so much, it was just the name calling. And back then, like I said, y'all were good girls. And I have to reiterate that. We were good guys, but we had a very low tolerance for ignorance. Okay. There were times that, and I know this to be a fact, that we would walk away. But if I walk away from you and you follow me around that corner, you're asking for trouble. And a lot of them got it. So
And that's what we would say. It's not your name, but if
Yeah.
they put their hands on you,
Yeah.
you have my permission.
Right.
But as long as they didn't touch you, but you know your name, and that's not your name, walk away.
Yeah.
But if they touch you, it's on. And
Yeah.
and the kids knew that. I mean, we weren't promoting violence or anything, but it's
No.
like, no, you don't put your hands on me. You can say what you want all day long.
Right.
Do not touch me. And that's how we taught our kids to just move on because it's ignorant. And they knew, they knew. And we always taught our kids be better than.
Yeah.
Be better than. And they were. It's like, that's on them and what they've been taught. And as I've told someone, we didn't talk about race at home because we didn't need to. We didn't need to. You treat people like you want to be treated. You respect people. You may not always get it back, but you carry yourself that way. And it will make a difference eventually. And I really feel it did.
And I think to that point, that's one of the things that we learned here at the school. I don't remember our teachers talking a lot about race
No.
and differences in race.
No.
Even though we got hand-me-down books,
Yeah.
everything we got in the class to use, we'd say, well, why somebody's been using it?
Yeah.
Well, because we got hand-me-down books. But you never heard the teachers saying, making us, well, this is what happened, nothing like that. This
No.
is just
No.
what you have to use. So, we didn't learn anything about violence.
No.
And the boys, I think they did, and I remember now that you bring this up, that we did, the boys used to do this, and look what they're doing.
Yeah.
But that's what you were,
That's how we were
that you had
acting.
to do.
Yeah, we
As
had to
men.
do that.
You did.
We felt as though that was our way.
Girls, we didn't have to.
We didn't have
Yeah,
to do that.
that was our way of sticking up for ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I say, some of the guys that I fought that are still living, because a lot of them are gone. We're the best of friends. Hey, Alex, how you doing? How you doing? How's your family? But see, back then it wasn't like that. It was one of the kind of things that we stayed on this side of 292. We didn't go on that side of 292.
There was no
Okay.
need to,
Yeah.
except to go to school.
If we went up like there was a basketball court up behind Lewisburg School, there were times that if we were, and we played, that's what we played. We played basketball, we played football on the road. If we were caught up there and coming home, the police would stop us and take us downtown to the jailhouse and go get our parents, and they would release us. So we put basketball courts all in the neighborhood, in the yards, in the Slogan's yard. We had a big basketball court there because we didn't feel comfortable going on the other side of town, which was a city park, basically. But it was like we weren't allowed. Okay, you don't want us there, we won't go.
We're okay.
Yeah, we good.
And the same thing downtown.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, you didn't go to the restaurants. Of course, there was only one really downtown.
Yeah.
The court restaurant.
The Gore restaurant, and we couldn't go in, and we had to go in the back, and I don't remember. It seemed like
This is what I tell people. We had to go in the back, but while you were sitting out front waiting on your food,
We
we
got
had ours,
and gone.
we got more, and we were home.
Yeah.
So, some things just
we
weren't
looked
so
for the
bad.
good side of
Yeah,
everything.
and we had to, like the balcony at the Lewis Theater.
Right.
We had to sit upstairs, best seats in the
Best
house.
seats in the
And
house.
then they made us go downstairs. We were mad. No, we don't want to be down here with you either.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to be upstairs in the balcony. So,
But I remember the guys the men from the military school.
oh
A lot of them would come upstairs
Mhm.
and sit
Yeah.
because they realized those were the best
Best
seats.
Best seats in the house.
Absolutely.
They-
There was a time that if we went downstairs in the theater and said they would put us out.
Oh yeah, we couldn't go downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
That
wasn't allowed.
was,
Yeah.
no.
You were not allowed to sit downstairs. Well, we really didn't want to.
We don't
Right.
want to do it, right?
And so when we had to, it was.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything that's taught at home, And recently I thought about us, and I said, we were never taught to hate anybody.
No.
No.
We have only been taught to love each other, and that came with, I really feel, our faith as well, that has kept us through everything, and through all the civil rights. Faith has kept us through everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I tried to think, were we ever taught to hate somebody?
No.
And I never ever did those words come from our homes by any stretch of the imagination. And,
I think we guys were taught to take care of yourself,
Oh.
take up for yourself,
right.
you know. A lot of us got black eyes, but a lot of us gave black eyes, you know.
But there were a lot of times we were glad you did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You were helping to take care of us.
And to take a stand that, you know, we're not going to take this.
Right.
And once they got the message, you know, I really think things got better. And
Yeah.
But it's because we just didn't feed into the negativity. We just always tried to stay positive and like I say, see the silver lining of the situations. And because it didn't define us,
Yeah.
it more defined them and what their behaviors were and what they had learned at home.
And a lot of our parents, they went to school here too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I know my mother and father went to school here,
Mm-hmm.
and they had some of the same teachers.
Yeah.
Miss Cabell,
Yeah.
Mr.
Branch.
Mr. Branch. You know, so they were learning the same values and that they had in their own homes
Mhm.
with their kids. Yeah.
And I have to say the church,
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
and I have to say the men of the church. Her dad, because I went to the Methodist church. Her dad, my Uncle Billy Barber, Mr. Sam Robinson, Mr. Warren Williams, they all had jobs, 8, 9 hours a day. But every evening they would take us to John Wesley Methodist Church. And we would go up in the balcony and we had what was supposed to be a boys' choir. We never sang anywhere. But their reason for getting all of us youngsters was to keep us out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were mentors to us. I think today a lot of kids don't have mentors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's a big problem with society. Here, they say it takes a village to raise a child. This whole neighborhood. If I live down this way.
We took care of each other.
If I was over here and I got him, hey boy, come here. What's wrong with you? You know.
Absolutely.
And I'm older now, and I appreciate that.
Right.
And just like for Mr. Branch's history, he started the Toga Club. And it was a little cement building over here at Dory Miller.
Yeah.
And it was a safe place for us to go.
Yeah.
We had parties, we had a pool table, we had a jukebox.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the highlight of our life is, we get to go to we call it the youth center. We get to go to the youth
Going
center
to the
tonight.
youth center.
Right.
And we had the best time, and it was a place for us to be and have a good time and not worry about anybody.
Right.
And the other side of everything is we have always been accepting of people.
Yeah.
We haven't always been accepted, but at no time did a white child ever feel that they were not accepted in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I think that just spoke volumes of how we were raised and how we just try to show people, this is how you get a the intermediate school. They said their best years were at Bolling. I said, that's because of the spirit that has been in these walls for as long as we've been alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's always.
Okay. Perfect.
That spirit will never leave.
No.
No,
Never
it's
leave.
built and it's inside us.
It's here,
Mhm.
and it's in this building.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So whoever is here, the kids that go to school here, they're blessed to be here.
They really are.
A lot of greatness in these walls.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll feel it.
Yeah. Oh.
They will feel it.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it is a blessing to see it as a school.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and for me, it's really an honor to sit here today and to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, to be able to recognize all of them.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's definitely, something that's very vital to preserve.
Absolutely. And to see how successful we have been in our lives.
Mhm.
I mean, as reading the newspaper at 5, did I think I'd be mayor of Lewisburg?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But it is an honor to serve. And the responsibility and accountability that I take with me into that office. It started here.
On opening day of this school, I had the pleasure to be here. Walked around, looked around. A lot of my time was spent on that gym floor. And I looked at the classrooms. You know, guys ain't supposed to cry big and tough. I went home and I cried like a baby. Because I never thought that this school would reopen. And I constantly thank the people that I met who was responsible for this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I took pictures. I sent pictures to Warren Jr.
Okay.
Yeah, let him know the school's still open. Guys that went to school here who have left and went on and became successful that haven't been back here in years that I keep in contact with. I made sure that they got pictures of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do know the Greenbrier Community School, if a phone call, we have family in, can we come see Bolin? And that invitation means so much.
Yeah.
Because our kids do come and go and they haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited for them to come and now with the history of Bolin behind us to just embrace all that this school has been. I think it's just a wonderful opportunity for the community and for everyone, black, white, grizzly, gray. Everyone should come see this.
Yeah.
They should be a part of the history because it is history here in Lewisburg. That's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I must say, it's a blessing to have had Reese Nestor as the executive director for the Greenbrier Community Schools, and what's happened here has been as a result of her efforts,
Absolutely.
and not just her efforts, but who she is. I think really made a difference in
Absolutely.
making this happen.
Absolutely. And we're blessed.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us about your experiences.
Welcome.
This has been fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Blessed to be alive to be here.
We got one question.
That's great. God.
Got you one question and told us four.